So a buddy of mine asked me a couple days ago if I knew that Roman Reigns had a brother, and I was like, yeah, I know Roman Reigns had a brother, and I got to thinking, I wonder how Luther Reigns is doing after all. Huh. Alright, yes, I know Luther's not his brother. He actually had a superhero in training for his brother. Coming up, plans to debut Windham at Full Gear were scrapped. Unfortunately, more releases have hit WWE's floor, and a new promotion may be on the way. What's up, guys? This is Travis Fowler Harkwriter with Four Corner Post, bringing you this week's episode of The 10 Count. Starting off our count out this week at number 1 is the scrapped plans for Windham to debut at AEW's Full Gear. Now, so many people have been wondering what the formerly known as Bray Wyatt was going to do post-WWE career, but we had yet to see any kind of confirmation. That is, until his 90-day no-compete clause actually expired. And then we all got to find out exactly where Bray Wyatt was going. Hollywood! And Windham is now in the process of filming a new movie out in Hollywood. This definitely puts a halt to any kind of professional wrestling plans that people had in mind. That even includes a debut at Full Gear. It turns out AEW had made some presumptuous plans to debut Windham at that event, but with his announcement of being involved in a Hollywood movie, those plans had to hit the cutting room floor. So we're going to have to all wait just a little while longer to see exactly what Windham does next in professional wrestling. Coming in at the number 2 spot is great news regarding the recovery of the King of Kings, the Game himself. Triple H had to have some apparent emergency cardiac surgery not too long ago, and we have not really seen or heard much from the Game or those close to him since. However, this past week, Bruce Pritchard on his podcast, Something to Wrestle With, actually provided a small update to the Game's condition, stating that the Game is recovering quite nicely. Of course, all of us with the Four Corner Post and every professional wrestling fan around the world all wish Triple H a speedy recovery, but it makes me wonder exactly how he's going to feel coming back to the NXT brand. Speaking of NXT, at number 3, a possible rebrand already for the rebranded NXT 2.0, this time in regards to television rating. WWE, of course, back in its Attitude days that we all fondly miss and remember and at times wish were still here, may be coming back in a different form. As those programs were rated as TV-14 viewing, turns out USA Network has pitched the idea for NXT to go TV-14, and WWE isn't shying away from the suggestion. The viewership for the new NXT 2.0 has been steadily declining, and WWE wants to boost its rating in some form or fashion. This, of course, has led to foul language being used a little bit more heavily onto the show, and this could lead to a TV-14 rating. It'll be interesting to see how WWE produces this new show with its 2 biggest shows still under the PG banner, while NXT goes to a TV-14 rating if that indeed becomes the case. At the number 4 spot, Cody Rhodes deletes his Twitter account after he had already made the threat, if you will, or in this case it looks like the promise has come true, as Cody said a couple weeks ago that he was going to delete Twitter due to all the negativity that surrounds the social platform. Sure enough, this past weekend, Cody Rhodes did exactly that, as his Twitter account is no longer activated, and honestly, it's a wonder if he'll even come back at all. I know I've taken my breaks from social media from time to time, and they do you a world of good to do every now and then. Coming in with number 5 is Bryan Danielson's opinions about creative freedom within AEW. Bryan Danielson debuting with AEW a couple months ago has led to the professional wrestling world taking much notice to the AEW product. It definitely shows in creative freedom when it comes to Danielson. He did an interview this past week where he mentioned that creative freedom was like a breath of fresh air and a real sense of joy within AEW to have such creative freedom. Of course, he also was okay with the restrictions that WWE had placed on their creative process because it forces you to do things differently than what you maybe once were accustomed to. Bryan has seemingly fit in both companies and has made a character work no matter where he's gone, be it back in his past at Ring of Honor, his time with WWE, or his current run with AEW. The American Dragon has certainly shown he is more than versatile. At number 6, Ric Flair shares an update about the legendary Hulk Hogan and some health problems. Ric Flair, on his new podcast, Woo Nation Uncensored, revealed that Hulk Hogan has been dealing with some health problems as of late. While he didn't go into any specific details as to what those problems were, he did mention that they were pretty bad. One can only hope that Hogan is recovering okay and that we will once again see the legendary Hulk Hogan at least one more time on our WWE screens. One thing that we're not going to see much on our TV screens anymore is one Top Dolla. Earlier this week, he released a diss track to Jinder Mahal in response to Jinder's rap that was done last week over on SmackDown. At different times within the rap, people seemed to take offense or thought it could be offensive towards Jinder and his culture. To which Top Dollar had later responded stating that Jinder knew that the rap was coming and that people need to really remember this and have the same energy with anybody that wants to talk about his culture. Probably wasn't the smartest move, especially talking about number 8 on our countout this week, as more WWE stars were released, and who could believe this? I certainly couldn't. The entire remaining stable of Hit Row is out the door. It was unbelievable to see that Isaiah Swerve Scott, Ashanti the Adonis, and Top Dollar himself were all released from their contract just mere weeks after they were brought up to the main roster. Hit Row wasn't the only ones to suffer the dreaded axe from WWE this week, as John Morrison, Jackson Riker, Shane Thorne, Drake Maverick, and Tegan Knox were all on that cutting list this week. All of these guys are stars, and apparently Isaiah Swerve Scott has already gotten mentions from several top promotions about bringing him into their roster. Only time will tell, and all of these guys have 90-day no-compete clauses, so it's going to be a 3-month time span before we see what any of these guys do next. Speaking upon John Morrison and releases, Taya Valkyrie, the real-life wife of John Morrison, had some pretty harsh words for WWE. As this week, after the releases were announced, she went on a tirade that people should stop supporting WWE, a company that gives zero care to its stars or to its fan base. And honestly, you can see why she was bitter about it in the first place, because she has a lot of good points. No matter if she may be bitter about her own release that took place last week, it makes no difference to the fact that she brought up valid points. She went on later to defend her words, as a fan that would later delete his tweet tried to come back at her, and she simply stated that my husband just lost his job. We both are without our 2 incomes bringing in. She is allowed to feel the way she feels. This is a very accurate statement, and one that did not go unnoticed, as it set the professional wrestling world on fire just within the last 24 hours. Of course, Taya Valkyrie and John Morrison, who was once also known as Johnny Mundo and Johnny Impact, made impact within Impact Wrestling for many years before they came to WWE. That may be where they go after their compete clauses expire, but of course, there's always other big dogs in the fight now where they could go. Finally, at number 10 on our countout this week, a possible tease for a new wrestling promotion. It sounds like one Jeff Jarrett might be at it again, as he and Conrad Thompson are rumored and innuendoed to be creating a new wrestling promotion. Jarrett, who is not unfamiliar with starting from scratch with a wrestling promotion, both with WWA, World Wrestling All-Stars, and with Global Force Wrestling, GFW. Of course, his first venture of success was with TNA, now known as Impact Wrestling, and Jarrett's two other failed attempts at creating a promotion are very well documented. Conrad Thompson would go on to deny these rumors, and he would post a joke stating just that it was nothing more than a joke. Or was it, according to Conrad? Even though he wraps up his tweet stating that he'll stick with mortgages, one could only wonder exactly if this was indeed a joke, or maybe a tease for things to come. Guys, that's all we got for you this week on the Countout. I hope you enjoyed this video. Please leave a comment down in the comment sections. Let's talk about any of the news stories mentioned here or what ones we may have missed out on. Be sure to subscribe to our video channel. Make sure you like this video and make sure you turn on the bell notifications. That way you know anytime a new video is uploaded to the channel. I am your host, Travis Fowler Harkrider with Four Corner Post. And next week is Thanksgiving, so we will not be posting a new episode then, but come back and see us the following week. Until that time, have a great Thanksgiving and peace out.